It was 1959. There was a 1959.
I remember.
And hard times. And so I wound up in the Rockabilly Hall of Fame, and they thought she had a unique antique mirror overhead. It was all so very, very...
I'm Steve Denning. I'm a professional musician and music instructor. This is my studio, and these are my students. I'm going to prove to my colleagues and to all of America that I can take 6 middle-aged women who have never played music before, teach them instruments, turn them into a band, and take them to the top of the charts.
It was 1959. There was a 1959.
I remember.
And anyway, in 1959, I recorded and released a song that I'd written for my wife, or about my wife, really, and called Mumblings. And I wrote it with Elvis Presley in mind. I had never met Elvis Presley, but he was a singer and I was a writer, and I wanted to get the song to him. Yeah. But what happened, the record got intercepted by Lou Bedell, who was one of the owners of Era Records, and they put it out.
Well, I got young and almost in my dear. Pretty little gun and both numbers in my ear. Used to do till 2:30. And then she mumbles, I love you.
But what happened is that I got married, drafted into the Army, and a record release all in the same week.
Wow.
So I was hustled off to basic training, and I wasn't around to promote the show.
Yeah.
But would you believe that in spite of the fact it never made the top 100, it made the top 10 all over the country at different times. It would pop up in Michigan at number 5, and then Florida at number 10 and all that. That's why it didn't become a hit. Finally, it just sort of faded away. It's considered as one of the most desirable and one of the rarest rockabilly type collectibles. And so I wound up in the Rockabilly Hall of Fame, and they thought I was dead. Really. And I didn't even know about it, you know. I've always been a big fan of the blues, but I never sang that much in the way of blues songs. And one of the most famous blues singers is B.B. King. And I saw him on television one time several years ago, and I just marvel at his guitar playing and his singing, and he's got lots of soul.
Oh, yeah.
And so I walked away from that television that night with this song in mind. And I thought this would be so perfect for BB. And I love irony. I love play on words and things of that nature. And so the title of the song is I Never Learned to Sing the Blues. Sounds like the blues. Hard times, sometimes ain't no time I couldn't see it through. Get down, low down. Life's too short to blow a fuse. I ain't got no regrets, except I never learned to sing the blues. can't sleep. I said, I can't eat. Words I never use. No way, Jose. It's a philosophy that I refuse. I ain't got no regrets, except I never learned to sing the blues. Had a good woman most of my life, and I had a good life until she went away. Taught me a lesson, maybe the best one, and that is to live from day to day. I ain't got no regrets, except the blues I never learned to play. Hard times, sometimes, ain't no time I couldn't see it through. Get down, low down, life's too short to blow a fuse. I ain't got no regrets, except I never learned to sing the blues. I ain't got no regrets, except I never learned. I said I never learned to sing the blue. We did a show in Los Angeles. Well, this one lady, this one decorator came in and she wanted some pretty expensive items that we had, and her bill was $4,000, and she paid $1,000, and she says, I'll bring you the other three. Well, in the meantime, when the show was over, we loaded up her truck, and we still hadn't had the $3,000. I think you know where I'm going with this. She didn't pay. I found the address, and I knocked on the door, and this lovely young thing answers the door. It was her assistant. And I said, is so-and-so here? And no, she's with a client, but she should be back in an hour if you want to come back. And I said, I'd just soon stay if I could. And she said, oh, sure, no problem, come on in. And she says, can I fix your cup of coffee? And of course, me, I'm a coffee hound from the word go, and I'd like to think it's my only vice. And but anyway, I said, yeah. And she says, is instant okay? I said, sure, why not? You know, I mean, it wasn't my favorite, but you know, that's what she offered. And so I went in and followed her into the kitchen and sat down, and of course we all know how to make instant coffee. You boil the water, you put the water in the pot, and you wait till it gets hot, and you add it to the cup with instant powder, and and sit down and have a cup of coffee. And it doesn't take all that long. It's not exactly instant, but it's as close as you can get to it. So anyway, she's pouring the water, and I'm looking over here to the side, and I saw the dining room, and over in the far corner of the dining room was a guitar. And I said, "Oh, you got a guitar?" She said, "Oh, that's not mine." I said, "Oh, okay." And she says, "That's my ex-husband's guitar." And told me where she was coming from, you know. But anyway, it looked like it hadn't been played forever, and I said, I said to her, I said, "Does it work?" She says, "Does it work?" "Far better than my ex-husband ever did." And so I said, can I play it? She says, "I guess, if do you know how?" I said, "Yeah, I guess." So I went over and I got the guitar. Of course, the water's boiling. I had to tune the guitar. And when I tune it, to check my tuning, I play an A chord or an E chord, an open chord. I think you can appreciate what I'm saying. There's certain resonance to it. And I do sort of a Johnny Cash thing. I walk the line, and I do that as like thinking music, you know? And it's just like, let's see. It's sort of a dumb sound, but I've written a lot of songs with that sound.
It sounds great. That song doesn't sound.
Yeah. So anyway, I was going like this, and it was in tune, and all of a sudden, I'm getting this inspiration, lyric-wise. And you remember now, they were decorators, interior designers, and they were pretty good ones too. And I looked around the kitchen, and it was really the neatest little place. They had all these wonderful little knickknacks and artifacts on the
That
wall.
they'd stolen from people.
No. Yeah, maybe they had, but they arranged them beautifully.
It's a good thing I'm younger and not that old, because he was absolutely adorable.
I started writing this song right off the top of my head. I sang it as I was playing, and she hadn't even served the coffee yet. And she served the coffee, and before I had my coffee, I played it one more time. She brought out a little cassette recorder, and so it was officially it was recorded on tape.
Wow.
Before my coffee even got cold. Now, if that isn't an encouraging thought about you that want to write a song, and you know, it all relies on an inspiration or a personal experience that you've had. That's where the ideas come from. And in this case, the inspiration and idea came from all the little things I saw on the wall. And so here's what happened. Tell you the story. And I called it the Decorator Song. What else? She had apples, pears, flowers on her wallpaper, rag dolls hanging in her kitchen, knickknacks, bread racks, buddy, that ain't all. And that's the thing I'm missing. She had a decorator come to the house on commission to hang a little crystal chandelier over a great white pillow on an oriental rug, where I'd sit for hours just nibbling on her ear. She had a macrame plant holder over in the far corner, hand-tied lace upon the table. She had wind chimes and good times every single time I saw her whenever I was able. She had that decorator fine, an old-time television. It had a very, very tiny screen, and we had to sit so close, and that's the thing I love the most. She had the cutest little place I'd ever seen. Believe me, I never forget a place. Anyway, write about in the kitchen. And so I decided to, I got up and I went down the hall and walked down the hall and I made a right turn. How could I go wrong? And there it was. My favorite room in the whole structure. The utility closet. No, I think it was the bedroom was my room. I heard that. She had a king-size Afghan spread across the bed, and the candles they scented of strawberry. She had a unique antique mirror overhead. It was all so very, very. Oh, that old decorator had such a touch for nostalgia. But as touches go, there's none that can compare with the touch of that lady with the cutest little place. And I'd give $1 million to be back there, 'cause she had apples and pears, flowers on her wallpaper, rag dolls hanging in her kitchen, wind chimes from good times every single time I saw her. Whoa, that's what I'm missing. La-di-da-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da-di-da. Oh, yeah, I can still see it now, right to this day. Oh, yeah. And I'd give $1 million to be back there. Well, at least a $20 bill to be back there. Has anybody got change for a cool 50? I've had so much fun with that song.
If you can't walk away feeling enlightened, there's something wrong with you.
Going back to what you've been telling them and what you all know, I'm just going to underline it. Dedication, to what you're doing, and concentration, and the confidence that you can and will do it. And it will happen. If not now or tomorrow or even next week, it will happen.
Seeing him again just brought it all back to me, and it made me realize how important it is to try and inspire other people, especially young people.
Johnny Bachelor does things Johnny Bachelor's way. He goes and he writes songs his way, and he writes about what he wants to write about, and he's truly his own artist. And hopefully that's where I'm taking these ladies, is down that same path of originality. Like Billie Holiday once said, you can't copy anybody and end up with anything. If you copy, it means you're working without any real feeling. No two people on earth are alike, and it's gotta be that way in music, or it isn't music.
I should have asked him if he knew Carlos Santana.
Thank you.